Reading is fundamental. Reading is power. I'm Tyrone Bowman. This is Tyrone Bowman Tonight. I'm starting a new segment on the program entitled Recommended Reading. So what I'll be doing, I will be recommending some of the favorite books of mine that I've had the opportunity to read down through the years. And tonight I'm starting with one entitled The Street Lawyer by John Grisham. I found something called Super Summary. It provides an analysis that I will be quoting from. So the words that you hear me reading, I'll be reading them in spoken quotation marks. They're not my words. Quote, The Street Lawyer, a 1998 work of crime fiction by John Grisham, follows a lawyer named Michael Brock, who investigates in the wake of a violent break-in at a law firm in Washington, D.C. Taken as one of the hostages, he is curious about the motive behind the crime and launches his own private investigation. Along the way, he resolves to shift his career path, undergoing a personal transformation as he realizes how he can intervene in the complex and brilliant lives of the people who live on the margins of American urban life. The book begins as a disheveled man breaks into the offices of Drake and Sweeney, an extremely powerful law firm in Washington, D.C. Identifying himself simply as, quote, Mr., close quote, he forcibly takes several lawyers hostage. Hostile and erratic, he demands information about an eviction that was supposed to have taken place. In the ensuing altercation with the police, he is shot and killed from afar by a SWAT sniper. The story's protagonistic then emerges. Michael Brock, a victim of the hostage situation, perceives a grain of truth in the man's line of questioning and decides to set out to extend his search. Tracing the man to some of the places that he frequented, Brock makes his way to a legal clinic on 14th Street and provides legal assistance to the people without permanent homes. There, he encounters Mordecai Green, a lawyer and pro bono homeless advocate, in exchange for information. Green asks Brock to spend the night at the shelter serving its guests. Green works with a tight-knit and brilliant staff, including Abraham, an idealistic legal prodigy, and a Latina woman named Sophia, who nimbly executes all their general operations and paperwork. The members of the team share a passion to help the most desperate members of society's DC society. As Brock investigates progresses, he learns that his current employer at the legal firm was involved in an eviction that was egregiously illegal. After evicting a single mother and her 4 children, the family died. Further, he learns that the reason for their expulsion was money-driven, as it had coincided with the abrupt approval of a state construction project to replace their condemned building. The building had previously been used to provide reduced rent housing for the city's recently unhoused population. Due to the legal complexity of their housing situation, the residents were treated as if they were not entitled to their full rights, which allowed the law firm to force their eviction. Brock realizes that the tenants should have been legally deemed tenants instead of squatters, and were therefore entitled to the full eviction and appeal process. Despite this, a veteran member of Drake and Sweeney ignored this fact because the legal firm would personally profit from making sure that the federal building process started in a timely manner. They illegally threw its residents onto the streets in the middle of winter. Amazed at this revelation, Brock tries to steal and copy a file as evidence, but is soon suspected of the theft. Agonizing and opposed to the actions of his firm, Brock quits to take a low-paying job at the 14th Street Clinic. Simultaneously, he cuts ties with his professional life and his failing marriage As he shifts through the cases, trying to grasp and solve the various problems that plague this unfamiliar population, he soon becomes emotionally involved with the case of a woman named Ruby, a drug user who lost custody of her son. He also falls in love with a young woman named Megan, who works for unhoused advocacy. Meanwhile, Drake and Sweeney levy a host of malpractice allegations against Brock, also accusing him of the theft of their file. The clinic launches a countersuit against the firm and its senior staff. Ultimately, they reach a deal wherein Brock agrees to have his legal license suspended briefly. In return, the firm pays the clinic a large sum of money and fires the veteran lawyer who ignored the legal rights of the family that died. The head of Drake and Sweeney learns about his lawyer's egregious act and offers up the entire legal team to do pro bono work for the clinic, advocating for the rights of people without permanent homes. At the book's conclusion, Brock is finally able to make a short vacation with Ruby and Megan, where they reflect on their lives. His work for the poor has allowed him to reconcile himself and his valuable system. Having now humanized the plight of the people he once totally ignored, he looks forward to his new synergistic relationship with the passionate narratives and advocates who work at ground zero of DC's many marginalized populations. The Street Lawyer, authored by John Grisham. Never surrender, never quit. Pardon my mistakes.